Hello everyone and welcome back to the Seven Smushed Eggy channel. You may notice a different layout. It's because I just moved out of my college dorm because it's summer break. Woo! Stressed out about a lot, but whatever. So this is going to be my Seether review. So like all their albums and everything. So just a disclaimer. I'm not going to be reviewing the Walmart soundcheck album or any of their greatest hits albums or the remix album because they're kind of like derivative and it kind of already has songs that we all know, so it kind of seems pointless to go over them. So, right off the bat, not reviewing those. And the remix album's just terrible. So, did not need to exist. Do not know why they have two greatest hits albums. Kind of weird, but that is just my disclaimer. Lighting change. I don't think this is any better, but whatever. We make do. So the first thing that we have to review when talking about Seether is actually when they were before Seether. So I do not know how to pronounce this. I think it's Saron Gas. I'm guessing, but that was their name before Seether. And this album is called Fragile. This album is like very baby mode of what you're going to see in Disclaimer and Disclaimer 2. So they had the potential for their one of their biggest hits ever, but the production is really not that great on this album because it's their first, and I don't think they had an actual record label when they made this. I am not really certain. It kind of just sounds like they made it in their garage or something. That's kind of the quality of the sound in it. But it has a lot of the classic songs that you're going to hear later on, just they sound a little bit different. So there also isn't a lot of consistency as to when this album came out. Some sources say 2000, some say 2001. I'm gonna say 2001 because I've seen more sources say that. But overall, I would say this album's like a C because even if it has the songs that I'm familiar with and really like, the way that it's mixed and produced here and the sound of it just isn't that good. It completely changes the vibe of the song in my opinion. But the ideas are there. And there's some other songs too that didn't make it into Disclaimer and stuff and don't really come again, which are really interesting, especially if you're a hardcore Seether fan. That's probably a little bit of gold. Would I listen to this album again? No. Do not really like it. That's kind of a common theme I'm noticing with a lot of bands. Their first EP-ish. A lot of bands first album / EP or whatever isn't as good. And I mean, that's fine. It's pretty awesome nonetheless. So this one's C tier. It's not terrible. It's better than the Dance Gavin Dance EP, the Royal Ocean one, but that's really not saying much. Okay, so the next album I'm going to talk about is Disclaimer 1. I'm not really going to go into huge depth over this album because in my opinion Disclaimer 2 is better on all fronts. And it has everything that Disclaimer 1 has, but more. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give this album a B because it has that sound that I was looking for when I'm thinking of Seether, but it's not as good as Disclaimer 2. If you're in a store and you see Disclaimer 1 and Disclaimer 2, just buy Disclaimer 2 because you're gonna get more for what you're paying for. So yeah, that's a B. But Disclaimer 2 is actually the first album I bought when getting into Seether when I was 12 years old because I was in an Amy Lee obsession phase and I would consume everything that she was a part of. And she's in the song Broken, the one Seether song that everyone knows. So of course I was going to get into Seether. So when I was in that phase, I would literally consume everything that Amy Lee was even associated with. She talked about Bjork all the time, so I got into Bjork. She was in Underworld Awakening with Flyleaf, so I got into Flyleaf. So Seether wasn't really an exception, and also he was featured a lot in the Anywhere But Home CDs. So I'm like, I need to check this guy out. So I wasn't really going into it expecting oh, I'm gonna actually really love Seether by themselves and it's just gonna be an Amy Lee association thing. But no, that was completely wrong. I got sucked into Seether ever since buying this album, and they're one of my favorite bands, and I'm really glad that I made that decision, even if it was not exactly the nicest intentions at first. So this album is really raw. It still has that raw energy that Fragile had, but the production is like 20 times better. Like Fine Again, Driven Under, Broken, obviously. All of this is on that album, but it also has like so many hidden gems that I don't see talked about. Like I love Fade Away. When I was a kid, I thought that was the sweetest song ever, and I wanted someone to sing that for me. I also really like Love Her. That has a really powerful message, and Take Me Away. Like literally every song on this album is pretty good. And there's a lot of tracks. I'm pretty sure there's almost like 20, if not 20. And I mean, they're not the most polished. It's definitely a raw sounding sound, but I don't know. It kind of has that charm of like newbie band energy. You know what I mean? And it has a really special place in my heart. So I'm giving it an S. The next album is Karma and Effect, and oh my god, this is like the saddest album I've ever heard in my life. Like, I don't even know he's like the best lyricist, and like the way he expresses the emotions through his voice is just so impactful. And like, I don't know, as someone who struggles with major depressive disorder, like I really relate to how he feels. And I don't know, like I love Evanescence, and she's probably like my second favorite lyricist and all, but I don't know, Sean just manages to capture the feeling of like hopelessness and depression so well, like better than anyone, honestly. And I always listen to him when I'm depressed. Like literally I'm always blasting Seether when I'm depressed. And this album just has such heartbreaking songs. It's amazing. Like The Gift, Never Leave, even like songs like Tongue and stuff, like they're just heartbreaking. And Plastic Man, bro. And his vocal delivery in this album is just so cool and distinctive. Like in Diseased, I love the "Come Sit Close to Me" part because he just has like this hypnotic like tone when it comes to it. I don't know how else to describe it. This whole album is kind of like hypnotic depression hours. You know what I mean? And I don't know. This album mostly only gets talked about for like Remedy, but that's honestly like my least favorite song on the album. So I don't know. Kind of like the more deep stuff, not gonna lie. I'm gonna give this album an A. An A. I almost give it a B, but nah, it's not B material. It's an A. Because I kind of only listened to some songs on this album a lot. I listened to The Gift a lot, Plastic Man, Diseased, and The One. So, but I don't like listen to the whole album as much as maybe I should. So, solid A. Solid A. Finding Beauty in Negative Spaces, I'm just gonna go ahead and give an SS. This is my favorite Seether album. I'm not gonna say it's the best. This one is definitely just personal bias because I listened to this all the time in middle school and it got me through a lot. Walk Away from the Sun is also just my all-time favorite Seether song. Such like hypnotic again instrumentals. I wish there was like a karaoke track for that, would totally cover it. Really interesting lyrics, and his vocal delivery again is just amazing in that album. I just love the whole vibe of this album too. I don't know, it's just definitely not their best work, but it just really stuck with me. And like No Jesus Christ, that's like a whole epic ass song too. Awesome instrumentals, the way like the switch ups are really cool too. And I don't know, this album needs to be talked about a lot more. Also, he covers Careless Whisper on it, and it's way better than the original. Like, go off, King. And Breakdown kind of sounds like a counter argument against Call Me When You're Sober. But it's a really good song. It's honestly, their whole relationship is really sad, but I support both of them, okay? I do. I do. And Waste. Bruh, that song is so fucking powerful and sad. Like he just sounds so tired and hopeless throughout it all. And like I really feel that song. That one's awesome. So yeah, that what else can I even say? That's an SS. Like very very amazing album. And I definitely recommend it to all new Seether fans. Like, I don't know. It also has Fake It. Again, that was their hit on that album. I'm not really a big fan of their hits because they seem Not a huge fan of their hits on each album because they seem really like, I don't even know, they seem more commercialized and out of sync with the rest of the album. Does that make sense? They're like the awkwardly poppy slash overly optimistic parts of the album that don't really flow with what I see Seether as usually doing. Does that make sense? They're not bad though. Like, Fake It is funny as fuck. Like, whoa, you're such a fucking hypocrite. Like, yeah, we get it. That's a bop. Holding on to Strings, better left to Fray. I'm gonna be real. This album's kind of forgettable in the midst of other Seether albums. It's not bad. Like, whenever it comes on, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember those songs, and they're actually pretty fire. And hold on, this filter is driving me crazy. The songs that really stick out on this album are Country Song, probably one of the only Seether hits that I actually think is fire as fuck. Also, the music video is hilarious. They're riding on those stick ponies and beating up stuffed animals. Like, that's fucking badass and awesome. I also really like Yeah and Fur Q. That's a funny pun. Was it a pun? An idiom? Bro, I'm an English major and I don't fucking know, but it basically sounds like fuck you, so it's really funny, huh? Yeah, but I'm gonna have to give this album a B because I think it's my least listened to Seether album. It's not bad, but I don't know. It's just really forgettable, and it's kind of weird. Like, sometimes I literally forget that it exists, and I had to look up what songs were on it because I deadass, like, did not remember. But songs that I do not like are, like, fucking... I hate when he tries to be positive. I know, he should be happy. I'm happy that he's happy, but the positive songs are so cliche. You know? I just don't like them. I'm sorry. Here and now, I'm calling. Memories wear me down, and it seems... See? It's generic. I'm sorry. Dude, I look so ugly. The lighting, and I didn't wash my hair. You can tell. Anyways, Isolate and Medicate. This album's pretty good. I remember when it came out when I was a freshman in high school. Little old 2014, 14-year-old IU, you know. I was pretty awesome. I was badass. I was listening to Seether. Again, I'm gonna say it's better than Holding On to... But, also kind of forgettable. Not gonna cap, like... Kind of weird. They're kind of like in the mid. They're becoming a little bit mid at this point of their career. Not bad though. Gonna give it an... If I gave Holding On to a B, then this is gonna be an A. Don't listen to it that much. But there are some bangers on it, so don't get me wrong. Now I'm reliving my whole damn life, and it's a shame that I can't remember. Sorry, he kind of... I know it's his accent, but he sounds like he's from the South. That song's a bop, though. I love Same Damn Life. It's one of the... That one's, like, catchy as fuck. You know what I mean? It's like... Words as Weapons, though, hands down best song on that album. Understand why it was a single. It's literally the best song on that whole album. Like, everything else pales in comparison to that song. That song's a masterpiece! And you did have something beautiful to say, to those who know the lyrics. Yeah. Bruh. Poison the Parish? This was... Bruh, please. Anyways, this was, we're just gonna deal with it. This was high school IU again, but this time I was a senior. So I was a big girl now. You know what I'm saying? This was a really good album. This one has some... It's like a different spin on Seether. Definitely more modern, but it still keeps their traditional sound. This is when I think Seether starts becoming their best, actually. Like, I'm gonna give this one an S. I listened to this album a lot. Has a lot of juicy tracks. Very interesting vocal noises. Very interesting vocals. Very cool instrumentals. They make me bop. And what can I say? Like, this is a good Seether album. And they came back with a... They came out with a bang. And they're not mid anymore. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce... their newest album. It's in Latin. I think y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna look like I'm stupid as fuck if I try to say it. This one's hands down their best album. Like, the bias in finding Beauty of Negative Spaces as bias, but this one is just the best. sounding album that they've ever made in their lives. Like most bands usually fall off the more they make albums, but Seether took the opposite. They actually got way better. And I listened to this album more than any of them, actually. This one I listen to all the fucking time. SS. Super solid performance. Like, they are so in tune with themselves in the making of this album. It's so beautiful. Like, this is just a beautiful masterpiece. Everything that I love about Seether, the emotion, the lyrics, the powerful instrumentals, they all are 100% on their game in this album. It connects so beautifully. It flows so wonderfully. Like, it's just such a, like, I don't even know a single song on this album that I dislike. Like, it's just, they really came back. I mean, they never really left. They've been consistently making albums, but they got it together. They just know. They know what I'm looking for. They made it for me, guys, you know, like, come on. But this was hype, and SS, for real. Like, there's not even bias behind it. Like, I was floored when I heard this album. I'm like, they know what they doing. For real. So this leads us to Wasteland EP. This one's really fucking good. I'm gonna give it an S. Like, what would you do? What would I do, bro? And this song came out, like, on my birthday. I mean, this EP came out on my birthday. So, thank you, Sean Morgan, for the birthday present. I don't know why everyone's releasing shit on my birthday lately. Like, the new Dance Gavin Dance is coming out on my birthday, too. Thanks for the gift. Yeah, there's only, like, 4 tracks on this album, so not much to talk about. But the 2 new ones... No, I think it's 3 new ones. Delicious. Delicious. Well, that's all I really have. Comment below your favorite Seether song and album. Don't really know any Seether songs. Oh my god. I don't know any Seether song. This whole review is a lie. I don't know any fans, so if y'all are a fan of Seether, just hit me up, because I literally have no one to gush about. Because, I don't know, he's not a hot boy or a hot girl, so everyone just doesn't give him a chance, and it's kind of bullshit, because he's really talented, and he deserves more popularity, because Seether is really cool. So, sorry this video is really disorganized. I'm kind of loopy and on a time crunch, but I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye!